The person recited my home address and asked.
This is where you live, right?
My heart raced. There was no way they could know that. The voice came again.
Wait, I'm coming.
When I got home from work, I was as exhausted as always. I threw myself onto the couch and opened my laptop. Browsing the internet had always been my way to unwind. As my fingers danced across the keyboard, I logged into a forum site I frequented. I would spend hours here, discovering interesting content and advice. Sometimes, people would get into heated debates, but what I encountered today was truly unbelievable. A user named Tyrus12 had posted a long argument claiming the Earth was flat. What century were we living in? It was so absurd and unnecessary that I couldn't stop myself from responding. Do you really believe this? We live in the age of science. These theories have been debunked ages ago. The other person quickly reacted. Their message was full of insults, trying to belittle me. They kept attacking me with messages. I couldn't take it anymore and reported them to the site moderators. The argument escalated, and the guy kept swearing and insulting me. Frustrated, I shut down my computer. I had no intention of dragging this out any longer. That night, I tried to forget about this pointless debate as I crawled into bed. The next day, after coming home from work, I logged into the forum again, and a notification caught my eye. Due to a violation of the rules, Tyrus12 has been permanently banned. The person I had argued with had been banned from the site. I took a deep breath, trying to relax, but I couldn't understand why such a trivial incident had left me feeling so unsettled. Just then, my phone started ringing unexpectedly. An unfamiliar number flashed on the screen. A strange feeling crept over me. I usually didn't answer unknown numbers, and this time was no different. I held the phone for a moment, the monotonous ringing filling the room like an annoying echo. Finally, the screen dimmed, and the silence returned. I continued browsing the forum, but my eyelids grew heavy. The soft music playing in the background was lulling my tired body into a relaxed state. Just as I was about to drift off, the phone rang again. Same number. This time, I was really annoyed. What do you want? I muttered to myself. I glanced at the clock. Why was someone calling at this hour? I picked up the phone and hesitated for a moment, but I was so irritated by the interruption that I answered reflexively. Hello? I snapped, my voice full of frustration. On the other end of the line, there was an eerie silence. No breathing, no static, just silence. After a brief pause, a chilling voice finally spoke, sending a shiver down my spine. The person recited my home address and asked,
This is where you live, right?
My heart raced. There was no way they could know that. I held my breath and glanced around the room, the darkness suddenly feeling more menacing. Clutching the phone tightly, I forced myself to ask, Who are you? My voice trembled as I struggled to suppress the rising wave of fear inside me. The voice came again, this time colder, more mocking.
Wait, I'm coming.
At that moment, I felt as if I had been punched in the gut. My hands turned ice cold, and my heart pounded in my throat. For a second, I was frozen. Then the phone slipped from my grasp. I picked up the phone from the floor in a panic, my heart racing. As I tried to take a deep breath, I noticed a crack on the screen. The crack had spread visibly across the display. I examined the phone carefully, but the damage to the screen was infuriating. I started questioning if any of this was real. Confused and overwhelmed, I rushed to every corner of the house. In a frenzy, I checked the doors and windows, locks, hinges. I had to make sure everything was secure. My hands were trembling, but I needed to inspect each door and window. I locked every door and shut every window tightly. Instead of leaving the room dark, I kept it brightly lit, seeking some sense of reassurance that everything inside the house was safe. Just as I felt a fleeting moment of relief, the phone rang again. The screen vibrated, and I saw that it was the same unknown number. My heart raced once more. Grabbing the phone, I decided to gather my courage and answer. My hand trembled as I picked up the call. My breath quickened, and I could hear my heart pounding in my ears. Barely managing to speak through the tightness in my throat, I whispered, "Hello?" A cold voice on the other end, laced with mockery, said,
They kicked me off the site, but who's going to protect you here?
There was a chilling closeness in the voice, a certainty that made something inside me collapse. Then the voice added,
I'm very close.
I was left breathless. For a moment, everything seemed frozen. After the call ended abruptly, I stood motionless for a while, unable to move. My hands were ice cold. Trying to regain control, I immediately decided to call the police. With shaking hands, I dialed the number and waited as the phone rang. My heart was still pounding wildly. As soon as the operator answered,
Emergency services, how can we assist you?
I started speaking. Someone is threatening me. He knows my address and says he's very close. I don't know what to do, I said, my fear evident in my voice. The officer responded in a calm tone.
Okay, please stay calm. We're going to help you now. Find another phone and call the person back using that one. Keep this line open so we can track the location through the call. We're also dispatching a team immediately. Don't worry, you're safe.
Even though the officer's voice didn't fully calm my panic, I understood what they were saying. I immediately followed the instructions. I found another phone in the house, and with trembling hands, I dialed the unknown number again. As seconds passed, sweat trickled down my fingers. Please, let nothing happen, I whispered to myself. Just as I started dialing, what I heard next froze me in place. From the direction of the patio door, a phone was ringing. I realized it was too late.